Raise your hand if you own a printer. Now, even if you don't own a printer, I'm assuming most of you have at least used a printer at some point in your life. But what is it that you use your printer for? Maybe to print out research papers, essays, graphs, or pictures for school or work maybe. But what if there was a printer that did more than just simply put ink on a piece of paper? A printer that could essentially print anything you can imagine. What I'm talking about is 3D printing. Now, if you're unaware of 3D printing, just know that this field is growing fast. So fast that what if I, Francis Latore, told you that after doing extensive research, that soon you and everyone you know could be owning a printer that will not only just be used for school and work anymore, but for anything you ever needed. Whether it's months, years, or decades from now, it is certainly clear that the future impact of 3D printing will continue to revolutionize the world we live in. That being said, let's start with the genius that created this idea. It started back in 1986 by Charles Chuck Hull, who created the first stereolithography apparatus machine. This is pretty much the concept of 3D printers nowadays. So how do 3D printers work then? Well, they build their three-dimensional object in a process layer by layer. And in this process, they use an ultraviolet laser to harden the liquid photopolymer resins into plastic or whatever material you put into the printer. So now that you sort of understand how it works, what is really the hopes then of 3D printing? Well, one of the hopes is that it can help out in the medical field. And it was actually reported by Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center that are experimenting in printing organs. Yeah, that's right, actual organs. And they do this in a regenerative process where they use stem cells to create skin cells. They put the skin cells in the printer and it prints out organs such as this. Now at Wake Forest in particular, they're printing out organs like livers and kidneys. However, the only negative is that these are not fully functional organs yet. However, researchers are very optimistic that someday they'll be able to become fully functional organs. And if that's the case, we may never need organ donors again, which is absolutely crazy. Now, this is not the only part of the medical field 3D printing is helping. It also can help out in the prosthetic department and printing out prosthetic body parts. And it was actually reported by Fox 29 News of Philadelphia that there was a 9-year-old girl born with no fingers on her left hand. Unfortunately, her family couldn't afford the price of a regular prosthetic hand, which can cost up to $50,000. So long story short, they ended up getting a 3D printed prosthetic hand, and check this out, it only costs $5. I mean, talk about a bargain, that's just crazy. Now, 3D printing is not only helping in the medical field, it's already actually helping in the housing production. And there's already a company in China called Winsung, and they're printing out full homes and apartments such as this one right here. But what's even crazier is that they reported that they can print out 10 homes within 24 hours. So the efficiency rate's crazy. But what's even crazier than that is that they're selling homes like these for only $5,000, which is amazing. But why so cheap? It's because the only materials needed to print homes like these is recycled construction waste and mud and cement. So really there's not much needed to print these homes. So what we could be seeing in the future is more custom homes such as this 3D printed home at cheaper prices, but really the bigger goal is that they're going to bring these printers to third world countries and print homes for those in need. Now, what's a home though with no food, right? Well, they have 3D printers that are starting to print out food. However, there is no printer right now that is printing any type of food, but there is a printer that was created by 3D Systems called the CocoJet. This one right here. Now, it doesn't print any type of food like I mentioned, but it does print out chocolate desserts and cool designs such as this, which is pretty cool. Now, if you're not into chocolate, they also created the ChefJet printer, which prints out other sugary desserts, but not chocolate, but in cool colors and designs, like kind of like the CocoJet. Now, they mentioned that it's going to hit the open market later this year or early next year. However, they did not list the price, which I'm assuming is supposed to probably be really expensive. But really the objective is that we're heading in a direction where we're printing food already. And we could potentially print any kind of food. And actually in Germany, a company called BioZoom is using printers to print normal food and convert it to the same size and shape as it originally came in, but more of a puree texture for those that suffer with dysphagia, which is awesome. Now, that was just sort of a glimpse of what 3D printing can do for the medical field, housing, or food industry, but there's so many other aspects that can help. I mean, for example, you can print out functional tools with a 3D printer. It was just reported by NASA recently that they printed a ratchet that was emailed from Earth to space, and it's a fully functional ratchet. And actually, there's a company called Local Motors printing out cars. They're the first ever to print out the first ever 3D printed electric car, and it's supposed to hit the streets later this year. Now, I didn't forget about you ladies, or guys, I'm not going to judge, but there is something called the Mink printer created by Grace Joy, which prints makeup. Now, if you ever find a particular color that you like on your computer, phone, or tablet, you just simply click on that color and the Mink printer will print it out in makeup form, which is pretty impressive. Now, all in all, the possibilities are endless. I mean, whether it's the medical field, housing, food industry, or pretty much for that matter, anything really. I mean, the possibilities are endless, like I mentioned. For me, I mean, really, I just want to buy a 3D printer, print out more 3D printers, and then sell those 3D printers on Craigslist. Or better yet, maybe I can print out that perfect girlfriend. Or why not girlfriends? Anyways, though, before we get ahead of ourselves, let's just take 3D printing one step at a time and hope that it continues to make the world we live in a better place. Thank you.